G'day people, I'm Sharyn and welcome. If you have got your overlocker or serger perfectly threaded up and it's working fine and you have to change colours, how do you do it easily? This is the method, but it does not work if you are using a machine with an air threader. For those ones, just go back, use the air threader and it will work fine. But for the rest of the models of overlockers or sergers, try this way. You'll notice that this reel of thread is not in very good condition. It really doesn't matter as long as the thread is still feeding off it evenly, it's fine. The reason I've got that one on the lower looper is because it works, A, and B, because I know I'll use it up faster on the lower looper or the upper looper, and the reason for that is they just use a lot more thread than the needle threads. It doesn't really matter in this case. I'm getting it off and I'm cutting off all 4 threads close to the cones and removing the cones. Here are the 4 threads that I'm going to put onto my overlocker. You can see they don't match. It doesn't really matter. They're all reasonable quality thread, but I'm going to put the ones with the biggest amounts of thread on them on the right, for the same reason that it was for the ones that were already on there. These ones will get used quicker, and because they get used quicker, it will help to even up how much I have on each cone. So I'm going to put them onto the machine. We know these are the loopers, and the loopers can actually cope with having a knot go through them. I'm going to put the 2 together and tie a knot. And cut it off. Same with this next one. Put the 2 threads together, tie them with just a regular kind of knot. Make sure it's nice and tight so it's not going to break or come apart while it's going through the machine. If it does, all you have to do is thread it like from scratch. This is a thread for a needle, and what I'm going to do is a little bit different, because if possible I would like this knot to go through the eye of the needle. So I've got the 2 threads, I'm putting right over left and then left over right, and that creates a knot where the threads head back towards the direction they came from. We call it a square knot or a reef knot. They're not hard to do, but they're smaller, and if you're lucky they will actually go through the eye of the needle. Same thing on this one. So right over left and then left over right. They head back in the same direction they came from, and I will just cut off those ends. Those ones are much more likely to come undone than those ones because of the kinds of knots I did. I've tied on all of the threads and I have actually turned my machine on. I don't have a light in this machine because it just upsets the camera. Now that I've got my camera readjusted, I'm sewing, and the black thread is on there at the moment. You can see it here. There were just a couple of noises happened there, and that was black threads going through bits and pieces. Be gentle with this. The upper looper is now white. The lower looper I think is probably also white at this point, but you can't see it yet. There's the black on the back and the white on the front. And now we have white on the back and white on the front with the loopers. The loopers use a lot more thread, so it was a lot faster for that thread to come through than for the needle thread. At this point, the black thread is still there on the needles, but top and bottom loopers are now white. If I keep sewing, I'm now at the point where the white thread has come down to the needles. And I've been lucky, and it's gone, the knots have gone through the eyes of the needle. So at this point, it's just sewn straight through. Why did I say not to use this method on an air threader? Well, the knots can actually damage the tubes, so don't do it. For all the rest of the overlockers and sergers, this works well. You can actually do it by pulling each individual thread through rather than sewing them through. As long as you're careful when you're sewing it, it shouldn't really hurt it. However, if you've made a big knot, you might get something stuck. So just be careful. Give it time. Don't rush through it like a bull at a gate. And I'll see you next time.